Okay, 7th grade. Today your assignment is to compare fractions, decimals, and percents, and to order fractions, decimals, and percents. So the first thing that you have to do is you have to put them in the same form. So when you have two numbers like 3/8 and 72% and you want to compare them, it's easier to always change the fraction to either a percent or the fraction to a decimal. That way you don't have to worry about finding a common denominator. So to change 3/8 to a percent, remember you take the 3/8 and you multiply it by 100% and put that over 1, and then we're going to cancel the 8 and the 100. 4 goes into both, so that would be 2. This would be 25, and 3 times 25 is 75, so we put that over 2, and then 2 goes into 75. It goes in 3 there, and then 7. And there's 1 left over, so I'm going to write that as a fraction. So 3/8 becomes 37.5%. So I write that leftover 1 over the 2 here. And so obviously the 72% is a lot bigger. You might have been able to tell that one ahead of time. That was kind of an easy example. So let's look at the next one here. We have 4/9, we want to compare it to 0.45. I'm going to erase all this so I can have some room to see. And then, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change 4/9 to a decimal. It'll be easier. So to do fraction to a decimal, remember you drop the top down into the box, add a decimal, add a couple of zeros, throw that decimal up on top. 9 goes into 40. Move this up just a little bit. Goes in there 4 times, which is 36. Gives me 4 left over, and we see that that would just continue to repeat. So 4/9 is the same as 0.4 with a bar, which means that it's 0.444444 and keep going. So you can see that because this one is the same here, but the 5 is bigger on this one, that 0.45 is bigger. So we would do that. Up here, of course, it's also that way. That would be a less than symbol. Okay, so let's look at this next one. You might look at that and think, oh, those must be the same. They both have a 2 in them, but remember you want to change the decimal to a percent or the percent to a decimal, either way. And to change, we'll go ahead and change this one. To change a decimal to a percent, you always move the decimal place 2 places to the left, to the right. Decimal to percent is 2 places to the right. I knew I was going to say that backwards. So I put it right here, and then I'd add a percent sign. So this is the same as 0.2%, and this is 2%. Well, 2 is bigger than 0.2, so again we have another less than symbol. And then the last thing we're doing is we are ordering fractions, decimals, and percents. So we want to put them all in the same format. So if we think about putting them all as a percent, then we can order them that way. And remember, your answer needs to use the original numbers. So make them all percent. 1/3, I would do that by going times 100%, and I can't cancel, so I'd have 100% over 3, so I divide that into 100, and then add a decimal. Actually, in this one, I'm going to write the remainder as a fraction. It'll be fine. 3 goes into 10 3 times, which is 9, and then drop that, drop this down, and 3 goes into that 10 3 times, which is also 9. I have 1 left over. I could add a decimal and then use it as a repeat, which is fine, or I can write it as a fraction and write 1/3. Okay, and then that's my percent. So 33 and 1/3% is the same as 1/3. So I'm going to erase this. I'm going to write that underneath here so I remember what that is. Okay, now we can change the 0.38, and you know on that one you just have to move it 2 places to the right. So that becomes 38%. That one's easy. And then on the 2/5, this one will be easier too. We just multiply by 100%. Okay, 5 goes into 5 once and into 120 times, and then I just multiply 2 times 20 is 40%. So 2/5 is the same as 40%. And I'm going to write them in order from least to greatest using my original numbers. Erase this, I'm going to put it down here. So my smallest is 30%. And then the next is the 33 1/3%, so I'm going to write 1/3. And then the next smallest is the 38%, so I'm going to write 0.38, and then I'm going to write 2/5 because 40% is the biggest. And that is all you have to do. If you have any questions, of course, you can always email me, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.